Cancer, Happy New Year. This is a general tarot reading for Cancer Sun, Moon and Ascendant, rising sign. So what's been going on for you guys? How was your Christmas? How was the whole holiday season? Did you indulge? Did you go wild? Did you eat so much now that your belly hurts? Whoop. And already we've got 3 cards coming out, so let's have a look. The Sun. Nice first card, Cancer. The Empress. The 4 of Wands. So I'm going to keep shuffling, keep pulling cards so we've a big grand overview of what's happening for you in January 2018. And what has been happening for you? Well, the good news is, finally, after 2.5 years of Saturn being in your 6th house, he has now moved, he's jogged on into your 7th house. So what does that mean? It means the last 2.5 years for you, Cancer, has been a little bit tough in terms of your health and in terms of your work life, your day-to-day routines. When Saturn entered 2.5 years ago into that 6th house, he came in there to say, you've got it all wrong. You're not taking care of these 2 things. You're not taking care of your work life and you're not taking care of your physical health, your diet, your exercise. And he put a little bit of pressure on you in those areas. In some ways, he denied you the ability to work well and to work, to have energy, to make that work life flow. And he put pressure on you to make sure that you took care of your diet and your exercise. For many of you guys, because Cancer rules the stomach area, you might have found it very difficult to digest certain foods. You couldn't stomach certain foods. You may have just had 2.5 years where your stomach was just a bit bleh, and you tried many things to fix that. You thought it was stress, you thought it was the food you were eating, you thought it was you tried everything to fix it. Now, not for every Cancerian, but for those who were particularly affected by the Saturn in the 6th house move. Hopefully that's all cleared up now, because during the Christmas period he skedaddled on and he went into your 7th house. So after 2.5 years of not really feeling that you had a purpose in your work, that kind of got a bit resolved, hopefully for most of you Cancerians over the Christmas period. Suddenly you had that, I get it, I know what I'm supposed to do, I know where my energy is supposed to be pouring, and run with it, good luck with it. The 7th house, oh, Cancer, a card has just jumped out. I think you're feeling very excited about the next 2.5 years. Hopefully you'll stay excited when I explain what that's about. So I'm just going to get this card, okay? The 7th house, just as I was speaking about this, we get this card, the 7, 777. Lucky for some, hopefully lucky for you. The 7 of Swords. 7th house. 7 of Swords. So what is the 7th house? Saturn is going to be sitting in there with another card. We have the 6 of Wands. He's going to be sitting in there putting pressure on relationships, partnerships, couples, anybody that you have a contract with, anybody that you have some sort of an agreement with, where you work closely together or you go through your life closely together. Saturn is going to step in because he feels that you haven't been taking that part of your life very seriously, that you've neglected it a little bit. And so he's going to come in to remind you how to do partnerships properly. In terms of love, he's going to demand a proper relationship. He's going to demand that, oh, we have another card. We have the 9 of Pentacles. He'll demand that you get your shit together in your relationships, meaning either commit or quit. That's the buzzword from now on for you, Cancer. Commit or quit. If there are people in your life, lovers, partners, that aren't really playing along with you, they aren't really contributing to your happiness, to your love, they aren't giving you everything that you deserve in a relationship, then Saturn's going to make you ask those big, long, difficult questions. Commit or quit. Hopefully, for a great many of you, it'll mean putting a structure, Saturn is structure, putting a structure on your relationships, meaning marriage, renewing your vows, making a new deal with each other to go forward into the future together, more committed in a better way, where there's more balance, where you don't feel neglected. Saturn doesn't like his Cancerian to feel neglected. You know, Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn. Capricorn is your opposite. And in many ways, when Saturn comes into your 7th house of partnerships, he will be able to look down from the opposite place. So he'll have a better view from your opposition, a better view of what the hell is going on in your relationship. So he will give you the master class in how to fix that shit. And sadly, some of the relationships just won't make it. And that sounds horrifying to you right now. You're thinking, oh my God, what would I do? Where would I go? I'm not ready to leave this bad relationship. By the end of this 2.5 years, you'll have all the confidence, all the tools, all the skills to recognize whether this relationship is worth it and to dump it if it's not. You'll feel more confident about that. Hopefully it's the good one. Hopefully it's the one where you finally say, I deserve more, you better give it to me, do it and commit to it, and they'll agree. If not, out, go and get the hell out. Go on now, go, walk out the door, just turn around now. And then we have the 8 of Pentacles. A few more cards to... 3 cards coming out here. What next? Hierophant. Oh, I like this. Speaking of relationships for the next 2.5 years, this is the happy ending in love. We'll talk about that in a moment. King of Swords. A couple more cards, then we're ready to go. So from the very 1st of January, you've got a Cancerian full moon happening for you. Cancer, full moon, big, bright, shiny, huge moon, just for you. How nice is that? The very first day of January, and it's all about you, the moon, your shiny ruler. Shiny, soft, not shiny like the sun, but more gentle, luminescent. You're the one with the intuition, the one that gently shines a light to guide people, to show them the way. And this moon is going to be that gentle, shiny light to show you the way. Don't ever forget your intuitive side. We have this, the Fool. Don't ever forget that you have that superpower, Cancer. That superpower is your hyper intuition and your beautiful soft light that is like, it's that gentle light that shines in the darkest hours when nobody else can see what they're doing and where they're going. It's like a firefly. Gently and softly, it shows the way. And it will show you the way. Oh, we have a bunch of cards here, but we won't take all of those. We have the last card here, Justice. So that'll be nice. Your New Year's resolution will be about committing to your intuition, knowing rather than thinking what's right for you in your life, knowing rather than feeling you say, well, knowing rather than feeling. I'm talking about real knowing. Knowing from your blood and your bones. Not by what's triggered in your heart and in your emotions. Not by what you know here. Not by the details that you've learned. But that sense of, I know. I just know. That's what you'll be trusting from January 1st. So let's organize the cards so we can have a look at what's going on, Cancer. What's going on? Okay, I'll move the camera down. And what is going on? We begin with the sun. We begin with the sun. In January, mid-month, you have the sun and Venus. Sun, Venus. Coincidence? I think not. You see, these cards are coming up because your intuition is so strong at the moment. You are getting very strong messages from the gods right now. You've the sun and Venus in your 8th house. This is all about transformation, a rebirth, the death of the old way of doing things so that you can rediscover your intuitive way to do things. You got so stuck in the last 2.5 years of trying to figure out things in your mind. It's all about the mind, details, doing tasks, trying to figure things out. Well, that's gone now because now it's your intuitive side in your 8th house, clearing up all that psychological gunge that was lingering in there for too long, all that stuff that was clogging up your drains, maybe also physically too, maybe your stomach and your digestive system was feeling that, and all that gunge is going to go out of your system now, and you will float through the next 2.5 years if you use and depend completely upon your intuition, Cancer. And there'll be a deepening of the relationships. Remember, next 2.5 years is all about relationships. You will have that almost like a psychic detective has, real insight into how your relationships are working. And that will bring them to a deeper level. Now, you could go down to the very pits of that relationship and not like what's at the core. And you could decide from there on in, I don't like this. Or you could go and dive down into the depths and realize that there's a pearl at the bottom. All things that your intuition will allow you to discover. And let's not forget the 8th house is also about power and sex. Perhaps you'll be using this time to rediscover both, how you feel empowered by getting back in touch with your sexual self. Maybe it's something that's been neglected. Maybe you've just been going through the motions and not really connecting sex with your power, sex with your strength, with your mojo. But the Sun and Venus are going to bring you those things. They're going to remind you that you are a sex kitten. And my God, Cancer is a sex kitten. Cancer, you're often depicted as the homey kind, the one with the apron on, baking cookies, and, with the nice, perfect hair, and super organized in your house and your home, which you are. You love your home, very much so. But we can't ignore the fact that just scratch beneath the surface, Cancer is a vixen, a fox. You look at these retro, because retro Cancer is all about vintage, retro old style glam. You've got the likes of Betty Page, Dita Von Teese, and all those vintage hotties in their leather and lace. That's who you are too, you vintage vixen. I hope you got a gift like that for Christmas, just to kickstart your 8th house sexuality. Nice. And then what? Once the Sun and Venus prompt you into discovering the depths of your relationships. You will be in a celebratory mode, because this is the card of marriage, celebrations, coming together, uniting, giving a party or giving a celebration to committing to something. I'm not going to ignore the fact that it could also be about committing to a new business partnership or starting a business from home. You're going to be committing to that, to some new development, something that you're going to unite yourself with. And that's going to start feeling very soon in January like a celebration, like, yes, this is where it's at, this is where I'm supposed to be going. However, we can't ignore something here. This is the card of lies, deceit, treachery, people who have a sharp tongue and people who use words to their advantage, manipulators. Have you got those type of people in your life? People that are able to smile to your face, say all the right words, but yet there's no depth to them, and you feel that it's all just silver tongue talk. You can't allow that anymore. It can't be superficial, and it can't be a battle of words anymore, and a battle of clever things that you say to your partner or that you say to other people. It's got to come from a deeper place from now on, and you can't accept it anymore, that superficial conversation, superficial words, superficial relationships. And you can't accept people who play games with you. These people have to go. You want more. And you want people in your life who are able to flow fluidly with that wonderful Cancerian wateriness. Not people who are sharp and who are in their minds all the time and who pit battles with you logically, with clever words, as I said. You don't want these type of people anymore. You don't want that energy in your life anymore. And ignore them. Every time they try to pick a fight with you, tell them you're not getting involved. Say, that's your own shit, it's nothing to do with me. And back away from them. And so what else is going on? I mean, you had the celebration, the Four of Wands, celebrating a renaissance of your relationship, new feelings, a new understanding of how to move forward. And once you trust that, you'll start feeling that you've conquered something, that you've slayed a dragon, and now you're beginning to feel the success of that. You feel that little victories have happened in your life once you start paying attention to what it is that you want to do, where you want to put your energy. It'll feel more natural. When you put your energy in natural Cancerian things, you will start feeling like a winner. Everyone's a winner, baby, that's the truth. That's you and your horse. Get off your high horse. Well, not really. You don't have to get off your high horse. You've actually to get on your high horse, because you're going to ride into town with a new passion and a new fire. You don't often associate Cancers with fire, but let's not forget, you guys are a cardinal sign. You are up front. You're the one sitting on the horse riding through town like Lady Godiva, maybe with a few more clothes, or maybe not, if that's your thing, Cancer. I'm not here to judge, but you're riding in and you're saying, look at me. Because it is all about you. It's time people started to look at you. And what happens when they look at you and you start feeling all that good energy and start showing it off? You'll start feeling content. You'll start feeling a little bit happier, like that you've achieved something. You will also become aware that once you start behaving more like yourself, you may bring money in. So I'm going to go back to this thing. Will you start a business from home, working from home perhaps, doing something that is a talent, something that comes naturally to you, Cancer, that you might be able to start making a few coins from. And you're going to feel good about that. You're going to feel maybe even a little bit smug, maybe a little bit, I've got this, look at me, look how this guy is. He's just standing there. I don't know, is it a guy or a girl? I mean, who cares? Maybe he's just transgender. I mean, what the hell? And he's got a bird in the hand. Bird in the hand is worth what? 9 in the bush? And that's the truth for you. You'll start feeling successful once you play the Cancerian game. No more mind games, more intuitive games. And so then what happens? I don't know how many of you got, I think, who got it? Virgo got it, I think. A few others got this card. There's an extreme focus in January, I think, for everybody to get their shit together when it comes to finding their specialized subject. Is that what you're going to do now, Cancer? There are things that you know. You have certain skills. Are you now going to master one aspect of the skills you have to make it your little specialized thing? Mastering yourself, mastering how to make money, focusing on one thing so that you can become an absolute pro at it and then make money from it. And maybe you'll have a Taurus person helping you, or if you are very savvy about your natal chart, your birth chart, you might know where Taurus is, where it's hanging out in your chart, and you might be able to draw strength from that. Maybe if you've the moon in Taurus or Mercury or Venus, look to that for some guidance, okay? For those of you who really aren't so into astrology and knowing where all these placements are, look to somebody who is wise. Maybe you might know a wise person who knows the skill that you're trying to develop, and look to them for advice. Ask them questions. Maybe you might go through the internet, find somebody who does know what they're doing and learn from them, learn from books, learn through their wisdom how to develop your craft better. So it might be a period of study, a period of observation, a period of identifying with a certain belief system about what you're doing to develop it more, okay? And maybe, like I said, you will have Taurus or somebody with a strong Taurian influence, either outside or in you, that will help you out, okay? And Taurus is, what is Taurus? The land, property, buying and selling, security, food, luxury items, anything that's sensual, perfumes, good materials for clothes, the raw materials for anything. They're also money. The financial world is also a very Taurian world. So you could get good advice from somebody who knows their shit on stuff like this, okay? And then what? We'll talk about the lunar eclipse that's happening for you at the very end of January in your second house. You'll be asking questions about value. Again, you know, we've cards here that do represent value, finances, your personal worth. And the lunar eclipse in your second house is going to ask, how do you make more money? How do you increase your self-worth? Are you grateful for the things that you already have? And do you emotionally over-attach to what you have, what you don't have? How can you expand on the idea of letting money flow freely in and out of your life? I mean, we did begin with the Sun and Venus. Venus is very representative of money and luxury and the finer things in life. We have Taurus here who also represents those things, and the Sun shining upon that. And now we have the Moon also shining upon that, the Moon being your ruler. So you've the Sun and Moon really putting heavy emphasis on saying, Where do you make your money? How can you increase that? How can you invest a little and draw out more for that, okay? Moving on, we're going to talk about the King of Swords, a male figure, sharp-tongued, sharp-minded, somebody who lives in the logical world. They come to conclusions with cold, hard facts. And if you challenge them, they will cut you down and strike you down. A little bit like we spoke about here, somebody that has the gift of words who can strike you down, somebody who you're not prepared to play those kind of games with anymore. You want to move on and have a relationship that's more about knowing and feeling the fire, the passion, the love, the warmth. And this person can often be quite cold. They can be representative of an air sign, which is Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini. Now, these people, there's nothing wrong with these people. I'm not saying that they're horrible people, but by all means, no. But they approach relationships in a very logical way. And you might be asked to come to some sort of balance with them. Maybe you may have to teach them how to behave, or you may have to show them and explain to them in a very clear way, Cancer, how you enter relationships, how you move in relationships, because they may find the way you operate quite illogical. And you might be hurting them, and they in return might be hurting you. So once you smooth all of this out with the logical person, perhaps the air sign in your life, then you'll have a greater ability to move forward, you know. And move forward you will, because this is the happy ending card. Look at these guys, they're happy. They've got the fairy tale. They've got the fairy tale ending to their relationship. Is that you, Cancer? Will you have a fairy tale ending with an air sign? Once you begin to not have so much fear about showing them how you love, open up, show them how it is. You might be met with some resistance at first, but these guys are quick, they're smart. Once they see what you're at and how you move gently and softly through love, they'll begin to appreciate it. They're not a fool. They can get it, you know. And I'm just going to move the camera up here so that we can talk about the final cards. The Fool. The Fool? Are you calling me a fool? Because of all of the people, Cancers are nobody's fool. But I tell you what you are. You're beginning again. 0, see, 0, 0, 0. With the sun, see, the sun. The sun shining on your new journey. And what is this new journey? Sorry about that, Cancer. The camera just went haywire there. I don't know what happened. I think sometimes when the energy gets really high, just as we're coming to the conclusion of your story, it gets so intense that the electrics go. It happens. It's happened to me about 2 or 3 times already on the other reading. So it's a thing. I'll just have to get used to it. We'll have to get used to it together. It happens. It just means that the energy is intense. But here's what we were talking about. We were saying, what is that new journey? Taking this leap of faith into the great unknown without any baggage, because like we said, you'll be dealing with that as the Sun and Venus enter into your 8th house mid-January, the deepening of commitment to the new things in your life, taking a leap of faith into the new things of your life, not exactly knowing where you're going, but trusting it. Remember, Cancer, your intuition, not going by what you think or what you feel or how you're triggered by something, but what you intuitively know. And this is you, baby, jumping in with the sun shining on you into what you intuitively know that you need to do. And then once you do that, there will be a sense of justice, like justice has been done. Like you'll say, this is exactly the correct thing for me to be doing in my life right now. And there'll be a moment of, Why didn't I see this before? Why was it not clear to me before? It's also the card of Libra. This is Libra, Venus in the form of Athena, in the form of the goddess who is able to make wise decisions without using emotions, just deciding based on what is absolutely true for you. You have a second Venus card here. These are two Venus cards. Venus in its luxurious, loving, sensual aspect, and Venus in its justice aspect. We talked about having air signs around you. Could it be a Libra? Are you working with a Libra? And if you are they the ones that have been a little bit tricky with you? Or, to reverse it, have you been tricky with them? Not having the confidence, perhaps, Cancer, to show them how you really, really feel. And so instead of showing them how you express love and how you expect relationships to be, perhaps you have played along with them in some way that was not fair to them. Maybe you deceived them. I'll also say this, justice. If you have been not behaving very well in a relationship through either being a bit manipulative or a bit harsh with your words or a bit sharp, or worse again, if you've been very bold and used the energy of another person to prop up your problems in your relationship, I would fix that shit very quickly in January, because it's going to be exposed. Duplicity and lies for you, Cancer, won't be able to be sustained from January onwards, because justice will be served. If it's your partner or somebody you love being mean or cheating on you, then the truth will come out. All will be exposed. Justice will come. The great balancing will come. But in every other part of your life, it'll also be the same. A great balancing will come. The aspects of your life that have been neglected will be up for review to be rebalanced. And that's kind of good, isn't it? Isn't it? Well, probably not so good if you're being very bold right now, Cancer, because, like I said, if you don't fix that very quickly, it could become a problem that gets way out of control. Justice, taking a leap of faith, putting the hard work into yourself and your relationships so that you can have your happy ever after, possibly with this air sign. And you deserve a happy ever after. No more mind games, no more manipulations, no more tricky words or harsh words. It's just all now about flowing into your future with grace, style, and dignity, and using that beautiful, soft, moonlit glow of your intuition. Okay, I hope that was good for you, Cancer. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and tune in next month to see how this saga unfolds as we continue in 2018. I love you lots, Cancer. Here's a big kiss from me to you, and enjoy the first of what's going to be a great year for you. Bye, Cancer.